The Saw is family. And so are we. We are Horrortok.
Speaking of TikTok and the things we love on TikTok, you love me, I love you on TikTok, okay?
Like Barney?
Yeah, yes. Do you watch or consume any non-horror TikTok content?
You know, I'm on political talk. So like
Okay.
I don't know how I stay on it. I don't know. I mean, I know because I'm like liking and like sharing things, but I don't know. Like it's not necessarily that I like it. It's just I'm stuck on it because it's like, you know, everything that it is right now. So it's like everything. Like I was seeing everything like the Tennessee stuff that's going on. Like it's crazy, like all the stuff that's going on with our country right now. And so I'm on like the political side of TikTok and like the social justice side of TikTok. But then the other, like I'm not on Horrortok. I have to go specifically to my following. I have to go specifically. I have a list in my phone of everybody that like I'm mutuals with. And if I don't see them for a couple days, I have to go to their TikTok to then say, okay, here it is. So sometimes that's why like people will get multiple stuff from me because I'm like actually watching their recent TikToks. And so so the algorithm doesn't throw me on Horrortok. I have to force myself. Like I'm like forcing myself in, like you know.
It does that to me too. It's like
I don't know why. Like that's what we want to watch.
I know.
You know?
I think it's
I don't want to watch this stuff anymore. The political stuff. I'm over it.
I'm lucky, whatever. The Friends tab, there's like a thing. You just press the Friends and it'll just show you all your friends' videos.
Oh, I don't have that.
I have to tell myself to do that because I'm like, I'm not seeing anybody's videos. Like I'm seeing
yeah. I know what you're talking about now. I was like spaced for a second. I'm like Friends tab.
Like you
and
said,
I was like,
political videos. And it's like, I don't want that. But when I see one and I agree with it, I'm going to repost it.
Yeah.
And that's what's bringing me back to it.
That's how I am too. Like I feel like I have to like search all these people, but I didn't even think about hitting the Friends tab. I'm just gonna do that. That'd be so much easier.
Most of my friends most of my mutuals on there are horror talkers. I follow accounts that I just think are funny and don't have anything to do with, like, I like stand-up comedy, so I follow a lot of stand-up comedians and stuff like that. But yeah, the Friends tab, I'll just go through and watch a lot of people. All of them. Yeah.
Do you? That's what I'm going to start doing then.
Sometimes I go to my followers, and if I don't remember why I followed somebody,
I
unfollow them. I'm like, I probably watched one of their videos, thought it was funny, followed them, and then that's it. I don't need to follow people just because I liked one of their. That being said, if you come across one of our videos and you think it's funny,
sure you hit that follow because you will like all of our videos after that.
But it's different. It might not be different depending on what, but with like the horror talk to the horror community on TikTok, it's different because when I come across somebody that talks about horror or movies, because, movie talk horror talk is just, part of that movie.
Like a subgenre of it. Yeah.
And so I don't just love horror movies. I love all kinds of movies. But so I thought, a lot of not a lot, but some of my mutuals, don't even care that much for horror. They just love movies in general. And that's cool too. But when I come across somebody that's talking about movies or obviously horror movies, I'm going to follow them and then go look at all their other videos and be like, I want to be friends with this person.
Right. That's how I am too.
You know what? Usually we become mutuals, become friends, and it's just so awesome. This community is so awesome. I can't even like express it enough how awesome it is that we've connected across the country, across the world. AJ, you're in Australia if you're listening to this.
I love, what I love is when I see like other people that I follow or other mutuals that I follow comment on other followers or mutual stuff. Yes. And I'm like, I didn't even know they were like friends or they followed each other. Like I absolutely love it. I love it so much.
It's just so cool. It's not not to like just keep going on about how much I love Horrortok, but I can't think of anything that's like it. Like if you think of Facebook groups, they're so
Negative.
I don't want to negative. I don't want to like call anybody out or like say you're being a fan wrong, but it's so much negativity in those groups and most of those groups, which is why I don't really get into them.
Yeah.
We had message boards back. I mean, I'm sure there's still message boards. I don't know, but we had.
They got rid of a lot of them, dude. Yeah. I miss a good, like, I think that's probably another reason why TikTok is so popular is because it takes the place of the old school message boards. You know, like I used to be on the IMDb message boards. Like that's where I learned a lot of stuff about film because people from the industry would be on there and talking about stuff. Like that's how I met Danny Hassel. Like Danny Hassel was on there. And so like, you know, he was like clearing up rumors. Like I like his thing. He's like, well, actually, this is true. You know, and so I miss them. I met Deandra in a message board. We met in the Nightmare Companions films, and I feel like that TikTok is the progression of that.
Yes.
For some reason, Facebook, like, it just allows the most like vile people to be free to say whatever they want and do whatever they want. And I think that inhibits people to be keyboard warriors. And I think so people get away with it a little bit more on Facebook, and it's kind of, this is by no means meant to be mean to any other generation or anything, but it's like an older generation as well too, where they still think acting a certain way or saying certain words or certain things is acceptable because maybe in their world it is. And Facebook allows that. But on TikTok, if you do that, we're going to call you out on it. And we're going to put your name big on screen on a TikTok that could potentially then go viral, that then everybody knows in the world, you know, 2 million people watching a TikTok think that you're an asshole. And so I think that's why I don't think that's why there's as much of that on TikTok. Because I think that I think there was, and then I think that it slowly like people realized, okay, I'm not going to do that. But also I think that you're having a genuine connection with somebody. It's that whole parasocial relationship, right? Where you're like watching somebody who you're a fan of. And if it's in the Horrortok realm, you're watching somebody who you're a fan of, and they're educated and knowledgeable. And even if you don't like their opinion, there's a couple of TikTokers that I'm mutual with that I never, ever agree with any of their opinions on stuff. But I love them. I love their genuineness, their authenticity. I love their passion for certain things, but I literally don't agree with anything that they say. And I think it's seeing somebody with a face and talking about it gives it that human quality instead of posting a meme and then everybody commenting and it's just words. And so like, if you don't agree with somebody, you're not being like, oh, you're a piece of shit horror fan. You know, you're blah, blah, blah. Like, you're like, oh, I don't agree with this person, but I can see they love this and it's passionate in their face. And it's this, and that's why this app works, you know?
Yes. It's like taking the online horror community to this next level that even YouTube doesn't really have. Like you have content creators on YouTube, but I think the ability to like reply to people with videos and stitch other people's videos, duet people's videos, and you know, a big one now that I love going live with other people. That's my favorite thing about TikTok right now is, I mean, I still love making content, but that's like, before it was all about like, okay, I want to make this video. Hopefully people see it and hopefully it gets a bunch of likes, you know?
Right.
And now I'm like, okay, I make this video. I don't make myself come up with ideas anymore.
Right.
They'll pop into my head. And if I think, oh, if I laugh a little bit at my own idea, I'm like, I'll make a video. And I care if people see it. Obviously, that's why I'm making videos. But I don't care if it reaches out beyond my normal following. Like,
it's because the conversations in your comments, like you see it. Like when you go to your TikToks, you see the conversations in your comments, and you're talking with these people because you know them and they're your people, even if you don't necessarily follow them and they follow you. And, because it's like, being realistic, like I'm a bleeding heart. I would want to follow every single person, but like there are people that follow you that don't make content and stuff like that.
I had to make that rule that if you don't make content,
you don't follow.
I won't follow you back, but I appreciate you and I love you still. It's just,
I'm at that point that I'm probably going to have to start implementing that as well too. I was feeling guilty, like if somebody was consistently commenting on my stuff, like every other TikTok or every day, and having conversation with them, I was like, okay, I'm going to add them and I'm going to be mutuals with them. And I love them. I love all of my people and all of people. But some of them don't make content and stuff like that. And so it throws me in a different algorithm and throws off some things. And so, but I love it because I love people are having the conversations in there, and you get to know people and you get to see these familiar faces that are commenting on your stuff and have a real rapport with them and take their feedback and expand upon it. And they spark good conversations. You know, I'm the same way. Like when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna do my hair. I'm gonna do my makeup for every TikTok. That's what I'm gonna do. And I found myself like coming up with like ideas. And like I have a beanbag in my bedroom, and like I'll like veg out and like chill on it on my days off. And like if I'm like working and stuff on my laptop. And I found myself like coming up with like really good ideas. Like, oh my God, like this would be a really good TikTok, or this would be a really good conversation starter. And like, I don't have the energy to do my hair and makeup. I don't want to like run into the bathroom and like do this. And I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care anymore. Like I'll do like smudged eyeliner. Like my hair will be like sometimes not brushed, and I'm like, you know what? Like this is who I am. Yeah. And there are other people that are like me who are that way as well too. And they don't care. And I think it stems from that elder millennial mindset of growing up with like, you know, the Paris Hiltons of the world. Yeah. And, you know, everything has to be perfect, and growing up on IG and everything has to be curated. And TikTok is not that way. TikTok allows you to be your authentic self, and people don't give a shit. Like they don't care. They love you for you. And I'm not looking at people that I follow and being like, oh, they didn't do their makeup today. I don't even care.
It doesn't like, it's so funny. It's because my hair gets really greasy really easy, like if I don't wash it. And so sometimes I'll just put on a hat to cover it up. And the other day I did a video, total hat hair, total like grease blob. Because I just got off of work, my face is all like oily and sweaty, and I'm like, I feel like making a video, but I don't feel like doing any. Like I just want to sit in this chair and make a video, and I did it. And then I'm like, you know, it doesn't matter to me anymore what I am. Like just do it. I've never once scrolled, you know, to somebody's video and they looked a little like I don't even notice. Like it never crosses my mind like this person looks dirty today or whatever, you know. Yeah. It's like I don't care about that.
I think that like, you know, for a lot of flack that social media gets about like creating this image of this mentality in our head that like that's why we are this way. Yeah. I think as much as it gets flack, I think that TikTok is starting to undo that. And I think that seeing real people have real like platforms, like even just outside of Horrortok, like Drew a follow. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's the one who laughs really loud and like calls out like misogyny and stuff. But like if you look at her, like she's stunningly beautiful, but by all like media standards, she's like a normal person. She's like a normal woman, you know. But she's stunningly beautiful. But I think that seeing somebody like that can be taken serious, and that you don't have to be a size -0. And, you know, like you don't, I think that's or you have to have your makeup perfect, like Kim Kardashian and all this stuff. And I think that's why, truthfully, those types of people now no longer have the influence that they had. Like if you look at like the Kardashians, their influence is gone. Like they don't have the influence that they used to have anymore. And so regular everyday people are speaking to regular everyday people, and we're all connecting on this app. Like this is a love fest for TikTok, this podcast. Because I love it.
This has gone like way further than I anticipated, but I love it.
Well, this is what happens when you get two friends together who are passionate about stuff, is that you can just talk.
And you know what? TikTok made it happen, you guys. Just bring it back.
TikTok is the key.
So that last question, I forgot the last question. I think we went off. Yeah, because it was favorite non-horror content on TikTok. Okay.
My favorite is food talk. I love learning.
Oh, food talk.
That's my favorite.
I love the video reactions to like the stupidest.
Everything's creative.
And there's a guy that's like a chef that does it. That's really funny. He's so deadpan and just. That's my favorite kind of humor is like deadpan, dry.
Yeah. Sarcasm.
Like, you can't tell this person is joking, but they're obviously joking. And that's what I strive for.
Yeah. Me too. But then people like take it too serious. And I was like, I was being sarcastic.
And then I'm like, I'll make a video that's like that. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not going to, if somebody doesn't get the joke, that's on them.
Right.
But then somebody will comment something. I'm like, I gotta let them know it was just a joke. Right. But I don't want to ruin the joke.
You don't want to ruin it.
It was a joke. Those reaction videos get me every time. It's just, yeah, everyone's so creative. That's my favorite, dude.
But then, like, I loved when everybody was doing the reaction to that, where people would like grab like all the supplies. They'd be like, wanting to post a TikTok, and then you hear everybody's so creative, and they like turned it into like that spooky sound.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I like love it so much.
That's another thing that I love about TikTok is that it gives us this avenue, for lack of a better word, to be creative and like the things that we see on TikTok, we can go off of that and create something else that complements that, and it's just I love it, you guys.
Dude, I cannot for the life of me think of the content creator, and it's absolutely horrible that I can't think of him because he inspired me so much. But he does like trailer house music, like country hip hop trailer house music, and he did the Shania Twain song, right?
Oh yeah.
But before he did, I've been a fan of him before he did that song. He did Reba Fancy, and that inspired me to write some stuff and like create some content and stuff like that. And I started listening to his music, and one of his other songs, I'm not gonna say the name, one of his other songs inspired me to actually write a script. And like that's a part of TikTok. Awesome. Like but that's what he's doing. He's being creative and he's combining like two totally different music style genres together and creating this space on TikTok. And like, I'm in Horrortok, you know, he's like, you know, he's in a totally different genre, but it inspired me to like to write a script. And it's like everyone is like a muse for everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
it's awesome. I mean,
I love it.
To get off the subject of TikTok for a little bit, even though this was amazing, I love talking about it and gushing over it and just saying how amazing it is and how much I appreciate everything that's happened because of it. Do you have a favorite non-horror movie?
So I really love romantic comedies.
Okay.
I love. Like Halloween is my favorite holiday. Obviously, I'm in the horror world. But Valentine's Day is also my favorite holiday. I love the fact that love can be simple and all of that stuff, and that just everybody should experience the feeling of it. Even when I wasn't in love and I was miserable and all that stuff like that. I love love. I love romantic comedies. So for me, I love them, and there's two that are my number one that I can't ever choose between the two, and it is Simply Irresistible with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Patrick Flanery, and Mannequin with Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall. Those two movies hold such such a stronghold on me. And particularly Mannequin I grew up watching Mannequin over and over and over again. And I just wanted to find like a love like that, like where he just loved her so much, despite who she was. She was a mannequin and she wanted to be free. Like it's a fun film. It's cheeky and it's cheesy and it's so 80s. But again, it's another film that you look at it, it has like a different message behind it. And I don't know if I'm like looking for these messages in these films or something, but like...
No, it's great.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, you have to see this movie. Check this movie out, okay? because so in the beginning of the movie, Kim Cattrall plays an Egyptian princess, and she is wrapped up like a mummy, and her mom is like saying, "You have to marry this person. You've turned down every single person," and she's like, "It's a dung dealer," like, which is like, he's a poop dealer back in the day. So like, it's like, that's not who I want to marry. And so she looks up towards the gods, and she's like, "Please give me a better life. I don't want this to be my life. I want to explore, and I want to be something and be someone." And like, that is such like a female empowerment like statement that like just really as a little girl like resonated with me. And so the whole movie is like, she travels through all this time, and Andrew McCarthy's character, he is kind of this guy who's fumbling through life and has like a jerky girlfriend and doesn't have a career and doesn't really know what he wants to do, but he wants to be an artist, and he's so good at it and gets fired from her job. It's like really funny. He creates a mannequin, and in the mannequin, he creates her, and he creates this love and this image that he just is in love with her, and it brings her to life. And they just, I don't know, it's just such a good love story. It's just, and then the end is very sweet, and has like the best song, "We Can Build This Dream Together" by Starship. Like, I just love it so much. And then Simply Irresistible is Sarah Michelle Gellar, and it's another film where it's kind of like a girl who kind of like doesn't know what she wants to do and wants to be, and ends up accidentally falling in love for this guy who is the polar opposite of her and stuff. And so I think I grew up watching like these romantic comedies and just really like wanting that. And so I always say my husband is my Andrew McCarthy. Like, he reminds me so much of Andrew McCarthy in that movie. And so I love those. Those are mine. Like,
that's awesome.
What about you?
I love it. Well, your answer, it's so fun. It's not funny, but it's interesting that like somebody who loves horror and all things macabre also loves the sweet, sentimental stuff, which I do. I love movies like that. Romantic comedies. I like chick flicks. I like Mean Girls. That's one of my favorites. But
Clueless.
Clueless. It's. For me, like, my favorite non-horror movie is almost still a horror movie. My favorite non-horror movie is RoboCop. And that's totally a horror movie. Is it? Okay, then.
I mean, it's more action, and it's more action horror. I think action adventure and horror and sci-fi all kind of blend between each other. It's like a scope. Yeah. And like, there's like action films, sci-fi, and then horror in the middle, and they all kind of like blend in, but then not all three of them together. Although they do, like, that's like Alien is like an action sci-fi horror film.
Yeah.
RoboCop kind of would be that as well, because it's still kind of sci-fi-ish,
Right. It is still a genre movie, and it's still gory and it's weird. Just love it so much. But
did you watch the TV show?
No, I haven't.
It's on Tubi.
I know it's on Tubi. It's so funny. Last night I had a dream that I was trying to watch the show.
That's weird.
And then we're here talking about it.
It's on Tubi. It's not good by any means. But it's not great. It's not bad. It's not horrible. It's one of those like.
Is it better than Freddy's Nightmares, or?
It's on the same. I feel like it's on the same.
No.
I feel like they're on the same level.
What if it was like an anthology, like Freddy's Nightmares, then it's just RoboCop? Like, okay, we'll give you some RoboCop stories, but otherwise he's just gonna be like the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah,
it's just crime stories. Okay, Goodfellas. I always say that's my second favorite non-horror movie.
Yeah, I like Goodfellas a lot.
I love crime movies, stuff like that. I love all kinds of movies.
Yeah, like film. I'm the same way. It's hard for me to pick a favorite outside of like horror.
Yeah.
But like my favorite genre is like pick stuff. But I love film in general. Like, I love everything. So I always say, like, if someone was to be like, what are your top films from each genre, that would be fun to do, because then you can go through and like pick and dissect it. But it's so hard to like just pick like one. It's so when you love film, it's like, I don't think it's very rare that one film truly encapsulates everything for you. For me, that's Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So if I'm going to pick my most favorite film of all time, it will be Wes Craven's New Nightmare, hands down. But that's in the word, you know. So outside of that, it's like, okay, well, what do you think? Where do you go from? What's your next go-to? Mine is Love. You know.
Nice. That's so awesome.
You gotta have that duality. You gotta have
That's the word I was looking for. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Also, my favorite movie of all time, but it is tied with the original because I cannot decide. I love them both equally so much. Like, I'll say my favorite movie is A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Because Wes Craven's New Nightmare wouldn't really exist without that.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'll say that's my favorite. But honestly, New Nightmare, not to like go off on a New Nightmare tangent, because I can talk about this fucking movie. But it's just so, like, I was at work the other day, just like, and it just popped in my head and I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, this movie, like, not even having watched it in probably a few months, this movie,
right.
And it just popped in my head. I'm like, this movie is so magical and so just, I can't even put it into words. Wes Craven's. And when people say like, oh, it's not the best, I'm like, well, usually
it's a masterpiece. I always ask them why.
I'm okay with people's different of opinions.
Yeah.
But when they say, oh, New Nightmare, no, they're wrong.
Oh yeah.
They're wrong.
You know, for me, that's how I am with Dream Warriors. The two of them are one and the same for me when it comes to I'm obsessed with Dream Warriors. But if you're looking at it from the better film perspective, it's New Nightmare because that's what it's evolved to. Is each iteration before it evolved to New Nightmare. The New Nightmare is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece in everything, in film, the way that it was written, the way that it was acted, the score, the cinematography, you know, the editing, you know, the meta-ness of it. Like, we wouldn't even have Scream without New Nightmare. Like, New Nightmare is what set that precedent of a meta horror film, and this is what it can be. And you can go into New Nightmare never seeing any of the other films, and still love it, still appreciate it, and still understand it, you know, because it's not like you need to see the first 6 to get to this one to understand it. They explain it in this film, why, like, what is happening. It's just, it's such a smart film in general, and I love it. Like, there's only a couple little small things in it that I feel like would be a little, but even then, I don't even really know what it would really be. Like, it just really is such a great film, down to everything. It's just so great.
That is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Weirdly enough, we're talking about horror. We're horror fans. Horror fans are going to listen to this. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is my #1 comfort horror movie.
Yeah.
Any time I'm down and sad, you know, depressed, anything big happens in my life that I don't love.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like a tragedy to be over dramatic, but like when
you need a boost, when you just need your boost. Yeah.
Or, you know, I just put on New Nightmare, and part of it is how much I love the movie and how genius I think it is. And I can just pay attention, and when something happens that I've seen 1,000 times, I'm still blown away by it. I'm like, how does this man, with his brain, he came up with A Nightmare on Elm Street, for one thing. That's genius in itself, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But then you expand that to Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and you take that to the level it went. It just blows me away every time, and I just marvel at it every time I watch it. And it just, for those however long it is, I don't even know how long it is. It just takes me.
I think it's an hour and 40.
Yeah,
hour and 40. So hour and 40 something.
It can not turn my brain off, but it can just, you know, have me focus on that. And that's a movie that I can rewatch and still be, like I said, almost blown away by it, even though I know everything that happens. I've seen it so many times. And then another part of that is that was one of my favorites it's been one of my favorite movies since I was a small child. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
That scene where he comes up out of the coffin.
Yeah. Dude, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that like this is the first time you see him actually go after a kid.
Yeah.
Like he goes after kids. You hear this, you hear this, you hear this, but he's going after teenagers who look like adults. Mm-hmm. And so this is the first time you see him go after a kid, and the way he's like taunting him, like it truly like it's scary. Like it really is scary. Like where Heather answers the phone and he says, "I touched him."
Yeah.
Like it's so creepy. Like that means he finally like made it up under the covers to touch like his foot. Like it's such a good film. Like it is
so good.
So that freeway scene is my favorite scene in any film ever to exist. And I get chills from this. I can quote it word for word from the second she elbows the nurse. And then, she says that he's fully capable of walking out of this hospital. He sleepwalks, you idiot. Oh, shit. Like from then, like the music, like J. Peter Robinson's like score. And then she's like banging on the fence. And, you hear her like montage, being like, right across the freeway, and then she's like screaming for him, like, Dylan, please stop. Don't walk across this highway. And I've chilled right now, like talking about it because you have that anxiety feeling that even though you know what's going to happen, that he's going to make it out. Like it's that anxiety feeling of like, here's this 5-year-old walking across a freeway and then she runs in and is an action star. And it's such a good film.
That was one of the things that creeped me out the most about it when I was a kid, because I was probably Miko Hughes' age the first time I watched it that he was in the movie, because I've been loving horror. I can't even remember the first horror movie I watched.
That's so awesome.
I've been like, I was I remember when Scream came out and I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I was already a hardcore horror fan.
That's awesome.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the fact that Freddy was going after this kid and I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now I'm not safe. What is this?
Right.
And that moment when she's talking to John Saxon and he
Nancy, John?
turns into her dad. And then she's like, she turns around and it's the house. And then the fucking goosebumps every time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's so good. Okay.
I love it.
Like I said, we can go on and on about this movie. I love it so much. So that is your favorite horror movie, is Wes Craven's New Nightmare? It's your favorite movie in general?
Yeah, I would say that Wes Craven's New Nightmare is my favorite movie to ever exist. It gets tied between Dream Warriors every now and then. It depends on how much love I'm having for the franchise at the time. But most of 90% of the time, it's Wes Craven's New Nightmare. The other 10% is Dream Warriors. So it's still in the nightmare world.
I love that. I've loved that movie for so long, and it's just been. It's so weird how it's amazing how movies can be important to us.
Yes.
I love it.
I saw it in theaters as a kid. I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I saw it in theaters.
I wish. I remember I don't remember the
world.
First time I watched it. I don't know if I watched that on Monster Vision, if that would have been even shown on Monster Vision.
Yes, it was. It was shown on Monster Vision several times.
I believe that was the first time I ever watched it. But I remember we had a video store here called Movie Gallery. Rest in peace, video stores.
Rest in peace.
And I would always want to rent Wes Craven's New Nightmare because I loved being scared. I loved having an actual feeling while watching a movie.
Yeah.
And I knew if I was going to watch it, and the original movie, those two movies scared me until I was probably older than I should have been being scared. Okay. And I remember they had a standee, a cardboard cutout of New Nightmare Freddy.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to look this up and find one.
Right.
Because I would love to have one. I don't even know if it actually was a thing, and I'm just misremembering. But I remember, I'm because I think that New Nightmare Freddy is scary as fuck.
Dude,
His
so
makeup and look.
in Fred Head's the documentary, there's a guy, his name is Bob O'Rourke, and he talks about getting his Freddy standee signed. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. Like it's like you have to really look at it to see it. It's in the background of him when he's talking. That's the standee that he got signed by Robert. It's the New Nightmare Video Store standee. Dude, it's dope as hell. It was the first time I had ever seen it when I was editing. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about, Freddy's standee? And then like I was like looking at the pictures. I was like, holy shit, that's cool as hell. Then Kim's like, it's in the background.
That's
and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, totally. They always did that with Nightmare. They always had like really cool standees. Like the one I want really bad is the Dream Warriors one, where it's the house and the kids with the jump rope and he's like standing there. Like I think that one's like cool as hell too. But New Nightmare Freddy is scary. He's that genie in a bottle, as Wes says, right? So it's like it makes sense that he doesn't look like the other 6 films. That's what he has taken and he has evolved to and created his own version of what Freddy is. He's not Robert Englund Freddy. He's the myth of Freddy.
Yes.
The energy that was built and created. Like, yeah. So I get it.
It's so genius.
It is so good.
So much.
And do you know Wes said that his biggest regret was changing Freddy's makeup, and all the fans are like, no. Like it's so menacing.
That is my favorite Freddy look.
Is it
the
really?
whole series. It's just so menacing, and so I love it how they went off the original look and they did something like different,
right?
But still familiar, because it's not Freddy,
right?
Technically, it's the entity, so it doesn't have to be exactly, the makeup that they used in the other movies, and
it's the myth. Like if you look at mythology and you look at imagery of mythology, things change over time, right? Because it's like it's the telephone thing where it's like you say one thing to one person, the next person tells them the campfire story. It's so it morphs into something else, which is why if you look at Freddy, he has like the claw on his thumb in this one, and the glove looks different. It's more mythological. It's more bone work. It's more like it's more of an extension of him than the original glove was. That was like crafted in a woodworking shop. That's why the glove is so different. Is because the glove was crafted by Frederick Krueger in his shop with knives and blades and metals. This was crafted out of energy and mythology and hell, and so it grew as an extension out of him. I can talk this film all day.
I know. Okay, one more thing about that glove. I have to talk about the glove for a second. That is my favorite, like, movie prop, whatever you want to call it, ever. That I think it's so beautiful in a like grotesque, dark kind of way, and I've always wanted one.
You should get one.
The guy that made it for the movies, I can't think of his name. I can't
think of his name either. I'm horrible with that.
He made it for the movie. He sells them, and you can buy one that has like plexiglass blades, I believe.
Yeah.
But he also has a version that has metal blades. That's like $100 more.
Yeah.
And they're like $600-700. I might have to bite the bullet and get one because I've always wanted one.
Yeah.
So I have. You can't see it in this frame. I don't want to move the camera and mess up my angle, but I have a Wes Craven's New Nightmare mask that was made by David Miller, who did the makeup. He created Freddy's look basically.
Yeah.
Too. And he did part 5, I believe.
Yeah, he did part 5.
And I just think it'd be so awesome. David Miller Freddy mask, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and a fucking glove made by the guy that made the glove for the movie.
Dude, you should do it. That's.
And then I can be
so jealous.
I can be Wes Craven. Oh my God,
You should do it.
Jealous.
Honestly.
It's a lot of money that I probably should have spent on other things.
Dude, I'm very lucky. I have Brian Sills made me a Dream Warriors glove, without even telling me.
Oh, awesome.
He like asked me like a random question one day, and I was like, "Oh, it's this blah blah blah." And so then he asked Deandra for my address, and it just like showed up at my door with like and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like
that
thank
is
you.
so cool.
Like so I've never like purchased a glove, and then my husband, he purchased the Freddy mask that's behind me before we even got together. So he's got like a Dream Warriors mask, and then I have the Dream Warriors glove. So I didn't have to purchase anything. And so even the Nightmare House, I made it. Like all of my big collecting shit is like Chucky. Like the Chucky dolls were expensive. Like Tiffany was like 500, I think 550.
Yeah.
And like that was a hard pill. That was a hard bite. But like I would spend it like something for Nightmare. I say that if the tricycle ever comes up for sale from Dream Warriors, I don't care. I don't care how much it is. I'm buying it. If it's under 10,000, I'll buy it. I don't care.
You know what?
But
Life is short, you guys.
Yeah.
And these things make us happy.
Yes, they do. They fill a void.
My mom might have some stuff to say. You know, she's like, you should probably be saving your money doing this. I'm like, well, it doesn't really affect you.
Right.
She's a mom, so.
My mom loves it. My mom and dad were here. They were like, this is so cool. They were like, I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like,
I think they appreciate. Well, my dad definitely appreciated my collection and stuff a little more than my mom does. I don't think she fully understands, but she's learned to accept it.
Yeah.
And that's progress. That's
progress. Listen, we'll take it.
But that Tiffany is beautiful. I really want one. I just bought. You've probably seen my numerous videos and my lives where I have to pull out the Chucky doll because I love it so much.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
That's the Trick or Treat Studios. I wish I could bring it out. I don't want to go get it, but if anybody that watches my TikToks
he's all over your TikTok.
Yeah, but that's the plush doll. It's amazing quality, and it's only $200. Only $200. That's still a lot of money.
I mean, that's cheap for
cheaper
collecting.
than the $500 one that I'm probably still gonna get one of these days. But then they also have the ultimate Chucky that they're gonna make new heads and stuff for that you can switch out.
Yeah,
I'm like, Trick or Treat Studios, I love you, but you're also kind of not good for me, like financially.
I feel you. We man, I really wanted the NECA one. I wanted the NECA Tiffany so bad.
Yeah.
And when it was announced, I was like, I can't throw that money down. We had just like hit a pandemic, but when we got married, we got like money, and my husband and I were like, okay, we're gonna take a discrepancy fund. You'll take this much, and I'll take this much, and then the rest will go in savings, and we could do whatever we want, treat ourselves to whatever we want. And I was like, instantly, I was like, I'm fucking buying that Tiffany. So I got the Trick or Treat Studios one because I didn't want to wait any longer for the NECA one. I was like, I'm not gonna do the NECA one. It's people are still just now getting it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, nope.
Time too.
Like Trick or Treat Studios, thank you.
And
like
the
I was
Trick
like,
or Treat Studios one looks amazing. I think
I like her better. I'm so glad I got her. At first, I was like, oh man, I wish I would have got the NECA one when I saw the NECA one. But now that I look at it, this is the one that they use for the TV series. It's the one that Jennifer Tilly uses. It's the one that they used moving forward. The Bride of Chucky was only in Bride of Chucky. And so I love this version because this is who Tiffany is. And I fucking love Tiffany. She is like such a great horror icon. Like I love her.
Yes, we love Tiffany. They also use the Trick or Treat Studios Good Guy dolls for like Chucky the TV show and stuff. So that's, you want screen accuracy. Look.
Right. Thank you, Tony Gardner.
Yeah, Tony Gardner. When does that documentary come out? My Life, was it My Life with Chucky?
I think it's called My Life with Chucky.
Not to bring it back to TikTok and go off on it again, but I've been following her on TikTok for a while, and I've been pretty excited for that documentary. So.
Me too. I
can't wait.
I can't wait either because she's another like girl in this space, and what I love about her is like I follow her too. She's one of like after I followed you, one of the like first few people I started like seeing. And what I love about her is one, she's young. Two, she is a really good filmmaker. Like I've seen like the clips and stuff like that like she's posted, and like I love that she does it herself too. Like she's behind the scenes filming, she's editing, she's she's like a one woman show, and I respect that so much. And like I can't wait to like see it and support her. Like she doesn't even know who I am, but like I still like I'm always like trying to like support her. Like I feel like she's someone who has a real shot in the industry, and I love seeing other women succeed. You know, Deandra and Crystal, we talk about this a lot, where it's like you don't have to like knock someone else's crown to like promote your own and to adjust yours. You don't got to do that. And so for like me, like I just want everybody to like survive and thrive and make it. And when I see people like her, like I'm just like, it gets me excited because it's like there's another woman doing this. Like there's another person she's getting recognized for it. Like people are loving it. Like it's such a great thing. And so like I said, she has no clue who I am, but I'm like super proud of her. I'm from afar. I'm like a fan. I'm a big fan. So
that's awesome.
Like I can't wait to see it either.
I can't wait. I'm gonna have to look and see exactly when I can watch it. It's just gonna be streaming somewhere, but there's also physical copies coming out. And
I think it's streaming on Screenbox.
Screenbox. You know,
yes.
I did subscribe to Screenbox just to watch Freddy's Nightmares when they put it on there. And now I just pay for Screenbox all the time. And it's been on there for quite a while now.
Yeah. At some point you'll go back and forth.
I know. I do scroll through there and look. I'm like, maybe there's some movies on here that I don't own. Because it's a physical
the Pennywise doc is on there.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that yet?
I haven't.
I need
to watch it. It's been in my watch list since it came out.
I think because it's also like a different thing. I think that like the Chucky documentary like is supposed to be about like what it was like her life growing up as like Tony Gardner's daughter. That like the Pennywise documentary, like that interests shit out of me too. Cause like I love like learning about, you know, all that stuff and the behind the scenes stuff. Like I also really like documentaries that like focus on like a different aspect of it. I think that's why like Redheads was so important to us, you know, and that's why like I think our next documentary it's going to be in the fandom scape as well too, because it's like this is not to like slight Buffy or Nightmare or, you know, horror or Halloween or comedy or any of the stuff that like I talk about, but like I think at a certain point you kind of know everything that you know if you're a fan, and like you know, like there are documentaries out there that like just rattle stuff off like an IMDb, and like at a certain point you like kind of get tired of that. And so I think that there are ways to celebrate the genres and ways to celebrate the films in a way that hasn't been seen and that hasn't been done. And that's kind of what we're moving into. That's kind of what our company is doing is saying, okay, this is what works, and let's do this for other fandoms and genres and stuff, you know? So I love it. So I'm excited for it.
That is so one of the things that I appreciated so much about Fredheads is that it wasn't, oh, here's the story you heard in this other documentary and this other, you know, Shudder series, this other Netflix movies that made you like, yeah, we've heard these things 1,000 times.
How many times can you hear Amanda Wiss say that she got vertigo in the room spinning, or that she freaked out when she was in the body bag? Like those are great stories. Don't get me wrong, those are great, but like it's the same thing that is said in every single thing, and that's not to slight her or anything. But it like after a certain point, it's like, how do you make that fresh? Like if you the films that made us, did you watch the films that made us? And they had the Nightmare one.
I did. I watched those episodes.
I liked that because it wasn't just a talking head thing. It made it fun. The narrator is like popping and he's laughing. And, you know, when you have a documentary like Never Sleep Again, right? That is so comprehensive that it goes through like everything. And they still don't have everything on there because it would be a 10-hour documentary. Bonus features
that are like super long and stuff.
When you have something like that, it's like, what's the next evolution then? What can you really do? So I feel like there's two elements to making documentaries right now is where you're going to go the route of Never Sleep Again, where everybody wants to capture that. They want to capture what was in that bottle, that lightning in the bottle. And they want to say, this is the standard for what we should do. But then there's the other side of it is how do you make it not a talking head documentary? How do you expand upon an element of it? So if you look at documentaries like Scream Queens, right? You know, Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, where it talks about Mark Patton and what he went through. It adds on, and I don't want to insult these documentaries. My friends made these documentaries. I hope that this doesn't come off that way, but it adds like an element of heart to it. It adds an element of I'm not learning about these films anymore. I'm learning about the person who was struggling and lost their career because they were scared they were going to be outed. Like that type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think that's kind of what is the other spectrum of a talking head documentary. And I think that's why the two will always go really well together. They'll always go hand in hand. Talking head documentary will always be successful because people always need to learn. They always need to know about the films. They always want to see the actors share their experience on set or what it was like to be cast, or that those will always be popular. But then the heart element of it, the expanding upon it, it's almost like it's a subgenre of the talking head documentary. And so for me, like I love a good talking head documentary, but I love the heart element. Like I love the heart element. I want to get into the nitty gritty, you know?
Absolutely. Yes. Love it. Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street. That's a good. I've watched that like 3 times since it came out, which is more than I usually would watch a document. Usually, I do rewatch documentaries, not to, but it's like you learned what it had to say and stuff. So, like, I'll give it a year or 2 before I watch it again. But I watched Scream Queen like 3 times right around when it came out.
It's that good.
And I watched when I watched Fred Heads. I watched it by myself. My fiance wasn't here, but it's so hard for us to have like a time time for ourselves at like the same time where we can sit down and watch a movie. But he has to see Fred Heads. I'm like, I don't think he fully understands my obsessions. He embraces it and loves it. But I think he needs to see Fred Heads because he might get it. I cannot wait till that's one. Not to like. I know you're here. You made Fred Heads. It's one that like I can't wait to watch again. But I almost want to savor that first time I watched it. You know what I mean?
Aww, I appreciate that.
Because when I watch it again, that first time, I don't know. It's just so, I don't know how to explain it. It's like that first time was special. I'm not doubting that the second time is going to not be special, but it's just, I don't know.
You know what it is? It's like, and it's my film, so I hope it doesn't come off like egotistical or arrogant or anything. But like, it's like a comfort because what everybody keeps saying to us is that the way that we framed the documentary is that you're sitting around a table and the camera is always shot on somebody. And so you're the sixth member, like you're the person sitting on the other end of the table in this conversation. And so if you're reacting to the screen, like, oh my God, I totally remember it. Like you feel like you're hanging out with your friends is what people keep telling us. Yeah. And when we had people send their submissions, we had them do on camera, straight on. And we did that because we wanted them to be almost looking at the viewer in the eyes instead of looking off camera, which is what most documentaries do. And our whole goal was we wanted it to be like a personal diary that we were like letting the world in on. Like, this is a diary with us. And so I think that it just creates like a comfortness and a rewatchability to it. A lot of people who have left the reviews and stuff have stated that they have watched it so many times. That's awesome. And I love that because even though I made the film, like I've watched it so many times. My favorite part of the documentary, it's so funny, is the ending. But like my favorite part of the documentary is at the end when Jeremy talks about the message and he says, all the stuff outside of this is garbage. And we have something here that's so magical. When he says that, from that on until the end of the credits is my favorite part of the documentary. So sometimes if I need like a mood boost or if I'm like feeling a little down or I'm like, maybe my career is not going to go anywhere, or, you know, whatever, that those self-identifying things that you do that get into your own head with depression and anxiety, which I suffer from as well too. I'll pop that on and just watch the ending and remind myself, like, you know, like, this is what you did. Like, you're good at what you do. And it's okay. Right. It's okay to acknowledge that you're good at what you do. And this is good. And this is comforting. And this message that you drove home, people are getting it and they understand it. And so for me, I love that, like you can't wait to watch it again, because I enjoy watching it. And I never thought I would. I don't like watching myself on camera.
Yeah.
I don't watch my TikToks back. Like I'll watch it one or two times when I'm on TikTok, like, to make sure like everything is okay, like my sound's thinking it through, or like there's no glitching or anything. Or if I'm like expanding upon the topic, I'll rewatch it to like hear what I said. But in general, I don't like watching myself on camera. I don't like watching myself on screen.
Me either.
So for Fred heads, like I'm all throughout Fred heads.
Yeah.
So I have to like, you know, so I have to, like,
there a little bit.
Yeah, just a smidge. And so, but I don't mind. I don't mind it, because it's like a scrapbook of watching my friends, you know.
That's so awesome.